The husband has requested an apple pie, and we're going to deliver. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the kitchen. So in case you didn't know, the husband is retired. Last Wednesday, when he went to work, that was his last day. He's been home ever since. And the only thing he asked was for an apple pie. He's not a party person, so we're not going to have a party. But he wanted an apple pie, and that's what we're going to do. So I went to the store and I picked up a 3-pound bag of Honey Crisp apples. I've got most of them peeled and diced. I have a bowl with 2 teaspoons of citric acid and probably about 2 quarts of water. And I'm just letting them sit in there so they don't oxidize and turn brown. We have 1 left. Let's get to work. So we're just peeling the apples. And these are pretty good sized apples, by the way. Picked these up at Walmart the other day when the husband and I did our weekly household shopping. So I cut them in quarters, and I put the knife at a 45-degree angle to remove that core. And then I'm just going to dice them up and put them in the citric acid water. Perfect. And now we're going to go ahead and make a double pie crust. I have 8 ounces or 2 sticks of butter. Very, very cold. I just took this out of the refrigerator. I'm going to grate it into this mixing bowl. This is that homemade butter we made with that heavy cream we were gifted. I hate it when the butter gets little like this. I'm afraid I'm going to lose a finger or 2. All right, there we go. Our butter has been grated. We're going to add 2 cups of flour plus a half a cup. 2 teaspoons of sugar. 1 teaspoon of salt. And I have some ice water, so our water will be cold when we add it into our flour butter mixture. That way it doesn't melt the butter. I just want to toss that butter into all the flour. Make sure it's well coated and separated. That gives you your flaky layers. And we're going to add a tablespoon of water. We're going to start off with 4. And we will add more water as it's needed. And it's 5 and 6. Seven and 8. All right, it's time to get in there with our hands and get messy. We just want to mix it just so the dough will come together. We are not there yet. Let's go ahead and dump it on our countertop. And I am going to start smushing it together. See if I can get a dough ball out of this. And I don't think I can. Still a lot of dry bits in here. Starting to come together. I think we have enough water. We just need to get everything incorporated. Oh yeah, I think we're good. Oh, that looks good. Let's make a dough ball, and we're going to divide it in half. So if you can tell, I have a larger piece and a smaller piece. The larger piece is actually going to be the bottom crust, and the smaller one's going to be the top crust. All right, so now we need to roll it out. I'm going to put some flour down on my bench. Now some recipe says wrap it up in plastic wrap, put it in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. I don't bother with that. I actually roll my dough out right away, put it in my pie pan, and then I'll stick it in the refrigerator while we build the filling. And I'm turning the dough to make sure it's not sticking to the surface. Add flour as needed. All right, that looks good. We'll use the rolling pin to roll up the dough. Here's our pie plate. Let's roll that dough right over top. Now when you're pushing it into the corners, don't push it in. Lift the side up and gently push it into that corner. That way you're not stretching the dough, you're letting it fall into place. We have some spots over here that we need to fill in. I'm going to go ahead and trim it a 1/2 inch past the rim of this dish. And wherever you can see the pie plate, we need to put Band-Aids on it. So this is the same water we used to make the dough. I'm going to put a little bit of water on my fingertips. Take some of this scrap. And that water is going to be like glue that's going to hold that dough together. And nobody will be the wiser. Perfect. And now we're going to go ahead and roll out the top dough. I believe that is big enough. Again, we're going to roll it up around a rolling pin. I have a pizza pan lined with parchment paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of these pie crust in the refrigerator while we work on the pie filling. I went ahead and drained the citric acid water from the apples. And I am going to cook these just a bit, just to soften them up. So I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of water, pinch of salt, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 cup of sugar. I don't want to cook them until they're mushy, but I do want to soften them up just a bit so we don't have to cook the pie in the oven till the crust is burnt, but the apples are not soft. That's probably going to take about, if I had to guess, but I'll let you know for sure, but I'm thinking 15-20 minutes. Just to get a head start on some soft apples. So with that water we added in here, which was only a 1/2 cup, the apples are rendering out some water. We're going to save that. That is going to add a nice flavorful depth to our apple pie, but we will thicken it up with a cornstarch slurry. So don't worry, it's not going to go to waste. I do have the oven preheating to 350 degrees, and I'm just coming in here and giving the apples a little toss to make sure they're cooking evenly. So we have about 8 minutes left, and I think that's going to be a perfect amount of time to have some soft apples. I'll see you in about 8 minutes, family. I have about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of water. And we're going to make a cornstarch slurry. Make sure all that cornstarch is dissolved. And now we're going to pour it in here so we can thicken up that delicious apple syrup that's in here. It's very quick acting. Look at that, family. I'm going to turn the temperature down to a low just to cook it for the last 2 minutes. Look at those apples. Oh, that is so beautiful. Okay, now the apples are ready. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get an egg wash ready so that we can put an egg wash on our crust so it'd be beautiful golden brown. So I have 1 egg I'm just going to beat. Perfect. So we have our very chilled pie crust. Now we're going to go ahead and dump this beautiful apple pie filling. I want to make sure we get all the goodness out of this pan. There we go. I'm going to take a paintbrush and paint the edge of this pie crust. So when we lay the top pie crust on here, it's going to act like a glue. And they'll stick together. Our top pie crust going on. Push it down right along the edge. And I'm going to trim the top one to be equal to the bottom crust. About a 1/2 inch from the edge of the pie plate. That looks good. And now we're going to fold both the top. Oh, let me trim right here a little bit. Then we're going to fold the top and the bottom together over about a 1/2 inch. And now we're going to make our scalloped edges. So I'm taking a finger and a thumb on one hand, a finger on the other hand, and I'm just pushing the dough in between to make that scalloped edge. We're going to do that going all the way around. Beautiful. I'm going to cut 4 slits in the top so we can have the ability for steam to billow out and it doesn't blow up our crust. So we're going to take our egg wash, give everything on this top crust a good washing. Make sure we get these scallops on both sides. And to the underside as well. Perfect. And I'm just going to take some sugar and sprinkle it right on the top. And when that bakes, it'll crystallize and give it a beautiful sheen. So we're using the pizza pan with the same parchment paper. Put our delicious homemade apple pie. And we're going to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes to an hour. Checking on it periodically and turning the pie to make sure it's browning evenly all the way around. I have the timer set for 50 minutes, but I'm going to go in there and turn it around about every 10 minutes. It's a perfect opportunity for me to get all the dishes done, and I'll bring you back and we'll have some delicious apple pie. The apple pie took exactly 1 hour. We're going to have to leave it here for a good 30 minutes, let it cool off a bit before we slice into it and have a delicious apple pie. But it is absolutely gorgeous. The egg wash had made a nice golden brown on that crust. And you can see the sugar crystals that we sprinkled right on top. I cannot wait to dive into this pie. All right, so family, go do what you gotta do. When you come back, we're gonna have a slice of apple pie. I know the husband's probably excited too. Are you ready for a slice of apple pie, family? I know the husband is. So it's been sitting here cooling off for about 30 minutes. It's still warm, but I think it's safe enough to cut into. The crust is perfectly flaky. Oh my goodness. The first slice is always the hardest to get out, but we'll get it done. Oh, look at that beautiful syrup those apples made. I don't want a big slice. I want a very small slice. Have some vanilla ice cream would be perfect. The apples are cooked perfect. They're tender. That is really good. Right amount of cinnamon, right amount of sugar. That is perfectly cooked. Cooking those apples on the stove with just a little bit of water, the sugar and the cinnamon for 15 minutes. And then at the last 2 minutes, we added a cornstarch slurry to thicken up that apple juice. Family, that is delicious. So if you like videos like this, how to make homemade apple pie, or whatever else we make on Sweet Thursday, please hit that thumbs up button. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. You're always welcome in Grammy's family. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. I'm very happy with this apple pie with those cooked apples. And I just want to say congratulations to the husband on his retirement.